Alright, Piss and Vinegar with day 101. Delts and biceps. So, today I tried a new exercise for my biceps, and it was fucking phenomenal. So you'll see that in a second. And it ties in with today's topic in trying new exercises out every now and then to see if you have an exercise that could potentially replace another one. So one of the things with high intensity and one of the things with training in general that, I've thought for a long time was, you've got to do heaps of different exercises. And I didn't know why I thought that. When I thought about it logically, it came to the conclusion that actually doesn't make any sense. The real thing you want to do is find the exercises that work the best and then progressively overload them. And then on top of that, you kind of want a strength exercise and an accessory exercise. So like on my chest day, for example, I have my incline dumbbell press, which is a strength exercise / obviously hypertrophy exercise, but like it partially also builds strength because you need to get stronger to get bigger. And then I also have dips and flat barbell bench press. But then I have flies, which are much more of an accessory to stretch out the pecs and contract the pecs or miss any details that I might have missed on the presses. And same thing with the biceps. I have my heavy strict curl and my heavy kind of half cheat curl for strength. And then I have my concentration curls and decline curls for, the icing on the cake or the pure hypertrophy or missing anything that I might have, or getting something that I might have missed. And those accessories are interchangeable. I don't mind changing those around. If I can find an accessory that allows me to feel the mind muscle connection even better, allows me to feel more of a stretch even better, then I'm willing to switch it out. I won't switch out the fundamental ones, although I try to choose the ones that I feel the most. Like, for example, the flat barbell bench press as a strength movement on my chest is not ideal because it's fine for strength, but it builds absolutely no muscle for me. So the second best option, or the best option for me at least, is the incline dumbbell press because that I feel a hell of a lot more, or any dumbbell pressing variation I feel a hell of a lot more than barbell. So in that sense, yeah, I try to choose the best compound strength exercise for me, but I don't get too, far away from the standard compound movements. I like to have the general ones. Part of it is for ego too. It's just to be able to say that I can do that weight. But the accessory movements are entirely interchangeable. I can change those out. And I went into this bulk thinking, all right, I'm not going to fuck around experimenting with the new movements because I found the ones that work, and if I keep fucking around with them, they won't progressively overload. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, it doesn't really matter too much that I progressively overload the accessories at such a hasty pace because that's what the compound movements are for. So if I have to switch one out every, month or two or whatever it is, or I find a new thing and it's better, switching it out, even if I might have lost all the progressions that I made on that other movement, and you don't want to program hop too much or exercise hop too much, but if you do find something that's superior, then by all means do it. And this is something that I found today that was superior to any of the other bicep accessories I do. So this might be something that I started doing instead of my concentration curls, for example. You'll see in a second. So don't be afraid to try new exercises. If you see some exercise on the internet or something, if someone's created some new thing, you go, wow, it looks pretty good. I saw this one from Eric Bugenhagen. It's not a super rare exercise. There's plenty of people that do it, but it is a relatively rare one. I saw it and I'm like, man, that makes a lot of sense. I reckon that's going to be pretty good for targeting my biceps. And I already have a decently hard time targeting my biceps due to tendonitis. So, the tendons kind of take a lot of the work, but this movement specifically totally evaporated that. So, yeah, in this case, it was an accessory movement. So I went, all right, fuck it. Even though I said I wasn't going to change out exercises, which I have been anyway, I'm going to break that and start and change this exercise because it's not a big deal. Now, you won't see me changing the, incline bench presses or the chin-ups or the strict curl or the tricep extension, any of these standard kind of compound movements, or maybe not even compound because some of them are isolation, but any of these standard strength movements that are cream of the crop for figuring out how strong you are and generally just building most of the mass. Even if there's an exercise that I can feel better my muscle connection on or whatever, it won't be as good to progressively overload it. So yeah, those won't change, but some other exercises will. You've got to be open-minded. You have to be willing to try new exercises because it could mean the difference between 5, 10, 20% gains. I mean, for all I know, this new bicep movement that I've found will allow my biceps to grow tremendous amount of growth that I hadn't have gotten before. if you had been listening to my video yesterday where I was talking about, my delts not growing until I switched to high intensity training, for years I thought I just had bad delt genetics. And all of a sudden I found this, just this one little parameter change in switching from volume to high intensity, and bam, my delts started growing. The same thing could go for an exercise selection. I'm trying to find that. I'm still trying to find exactly what that is for my chest, for example. Although right now I have some pretty good chest exercises that allowed me to really feel my chest, that just my chest is very stubborn to grow. So if you have a muscle that's not necessarily growing as much as you'd like, this is the movement here. Try a new movement. So I built this machine. It's a little janky looking. It looks kind of like a pop, what do you call it? Steampunk rather device. But the leverages on it are incredible. It allows for just total peak contraction at the top of the movement. So one of the problems with the biceps is at the top, most of the time, gravity is working with you, and thus at the top of the movement where you're contracting the hardest, you have the least amount of resistance. However, with this thing, your resistance curve is reversed. Normally it's hardest at the bottom. Now it's hardest at the top, and it's relatively hard at the bottom, and to about halfway or maybe three-quarters of the way, maybe 1/4 of the way up, it starts to really increase the tension. So at the bottom, the tension isn't heaps, but that doesn't matter because in this specific movement, we're not trying to get a huge stretch at the bottom of the bicep curl, which you would use dumbbell decline press curls for that, for example. But this allows for just an incredible contraction through most of the movement. So yeah, randomly decided to try a new movement, and all of a sudden I found out that I found an exercise that works vastly better for me. Now, there is a bit of a price or building curve here where, you'll either have to buy one of these or build one, because it's unlikely that your commercial gym will have one. And if you have a home gym, then you have to buy one, obviously, or build one. It's not that hard to build these. I'm probably going to build a better one because, as you can see, it's a little bit janky. But, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it works perfect. It's just efficiency. There's certain things that could be a bit more efficient and easier to set up. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't felt bicep pump or contraction like that in a very long time on my inner and outer heads. So, new exercise unlocked. And the more you can unlock these, gold standard exercises that allow for incredible contractions and hypertrophy and all the different things you're chasing through bodybuilding, the better you are off. I wish, I could have known the exercises that worked the best for me when I first started training. Like, there's a bunch of things that I wish I knew. Numero uno is just simply high intensity training. But the next one is, don't do exercises that don't work for you. Yeah, everyone says the bench press, dude, that gets your pecs big. Cool. It didn't for me. And I wasted a long fucking time trying to get a big chest doing bench press. Got tremendously strong at it, but it didn't have a chest in sight to show. So just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And with high intensity, this doesn't apply to high intensity or the volume parameters. High intensity is a set in stone law. The body needs a certain amount of stimulus to grow, and everyone is exactly the same in the sense that everyone needs a stimulus to make adaptations. Some people can recover a little quicker, some people need a little less stimulus, but the general rule is you need stimulus. So for everyone, high intensity works, but the exercise selection is entirely dependent on your leverages, insertions, injuries, so many different things. So exercise selection is up for debate. Not one exercise fits all. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow for more Piss and Vinegar. Bye-bye.